everybody! We are here to talk about some Disney stuff. Hold on, let me adjust my webcam. Needs to be over to this side. Porter Healthwoods walks out drinking Capri Sun. Some you horny, wholesome degenerate offers Capri Sun. I will take a Capri Sun, thank you. So we're here and we're going to talk about Disney's wartime era. Okay, so there's a handful of movies in this era. For those of you that don't know, during and after the war, they weren't really making long films. And they made a couple of films during the war to sort of encourage relationships during the war. With like Mexico and South America, and then they made, they didn't have a lot of money and stuff, so they weren't making feature films. They were making a bunch of little shorts that they kind of combined into films. So that's what we're gonna be talking about. The films we're talking about are Saludos Amigos, The Three Caballeros, Make My Music, Fun and Fancy Free, Melody Time, and The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. There's another one that if you are in the Discord you know about, but don't mention it because that's going to be a surprise at the end that we're going to talk about that one, okay? So we're just going to kind of jump right into it. So, the biggest thing you need to know about these is these are not feature films. There's no story to these. So I'm just going to kind of give a little overview of the little shorts that were in each one, and then just talk about whether I liked it or not. The biggest thing with this era, a lot of these older movies, is there's a lot of stuff that is not PC, that is not acceptable nowadays, that is racist, that is sexist, that is whatever. So we're going to mention some of those, and I'm going to talk from my white person perspective about what I thought. And if anyone has anything to add or any objections or whatever, please speak up. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me this isn't acceptable or this is whatever. Hello, Igloo! First I'm going to ban this fake bot. Report. Okay, so, Saludos Amigos. Now, this is, the other thing about all these movies is most of them have a combination of animation and live action, okay? For some reason about this era, okay? So, we're gonna start with Saludos Amigos. So, this film, I need you to understand, for starters, was commissioned by the United States Department of State. They commissioned Disney to go on a goodwill tour of South America to make a movie to, be shown in the U.S., Central and South America, to be like, look at us, we're best friends, okay? Just finished Christmas shopping, that's awesome. So, literally, they put a bunch of Disney artists on an airplane and sent them to various countries in South America, and they drew stuff that they saw and they made shorts based on the things they saw. It's awesome, but they still kind of fucked up. There's still some like in the first one, in the first segment, there's some there's some caricatures, okay? They literally show us live footage of the people in this town, and then they draw them, and they're very dark. They're much darker than the actual people they showed us. They have very large noses, things like that. It's a little, So It's like a cool concept. I think they should do more of this. Yeah, put a bunch of fucking Disney artists on an airplane and ship them off somewhere and make them make a movie. That's awesome. But be a little bit better. But they took a bunch of people to these countries and they made this stuff. So the first segment, it makes fun of American tourists. They use Donald Duck and they make fun of American tourists. It's nothing super cool. The next little segment is called Pedro. It's about a little airplane and his flight from Chile to Where does he go? From Santiago, Chile to Mendoza. And some people, yeah, it's got some information here. I'm just on Wikipedia. Like, I read up on all this earlier, but I'm rereading it like while I'm on stream. So, you know, again, the next one is also a little bit This is where we kind of get into some more of the you didn't think that one through. El Gaucho Goofy. So, Cowboy Goofy gets taken from Texas and is put in Argentina to learn the ways of the gaucho. The gaucho is kind of like similar to a cowboy. What's my cat doing? So it's okay. It's pretty interesting. It like teaches you about the gaucho, but I don't know. It just felt weird to be like, I don't know. I felt like Goofy was like a weird choice for that. But it was okay. And then this is the introduction of one really fun character. Is the last one. I might pronounce this wrong. Aquarela do Brasil. It means watercolor of Brazil, and it's the last one, and it introduces Jose Carioca, who is one of the Three Caballeros, if you know about the Three Caballeros, which is the next movie. He's fun. So he's a little bird that shows Donald Duck around and like teaches him the samba and teaches him about Brazil and stuff, and it's really fun. But again, he's kind of a caricature. I mean, he like smokes a cigar and he has a funny accent, and he spends the whole time speaking Portuguese though, which I think is fun. And they don't translate it, because he'll say something and then he'll say, or how you Americans say, and then he'll say something like 2 words. He'll say like 3 sentences, and he'll be like, or how you Americans say, what's up? And it's so funny. It's so much fun. I love him. But again, he's kind of a bit of a caricature. So, you know, that's just kind of how it is. It's a great film. It has some fun stuff. It does have some interesting teaching stuff. The other thing is, this movie worked. It worked. People in America were like, oh wow, I don't know much about South America as I thought I did. And people in South America were like, wow, look, Disney's pretty good at making fun of American culture. Yeah, but this is them kind of making, they could do a little better to not tease South American culture. But, like, this movie worked. Like, it actually did what they wanted it to do. It did amazing, actually. So, because that's the thing, the biggest thing is a lot of US viewers didn't really, like, there was live footage of, like, these big cities in South America, and for US viewers, they were like, wait, shit, there's, like, cities in South America? You know, it's the same thing people do even to this day when they see images and videos of, like, the cities in, like, Ghana, or, like, South Africa, or, like, Ethiopia, you know, and they're like, oh, shit, like, wait, Africa isn't just a desert? Like, it did that, but, like, in the 40s. So, yeah, it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. It was funny. It was fun. So, I'm going to do the rankings for all of these at the same time, just to, like, make this go faster, rather than pause, let's do this ranking. I'm just going to do the rankings for all of them at the same time. This is Los Amigos. It was fun. You know, I would watch it again, at least parts of it. Again, it's one of those things that, like, it's like Fantasia. It's a bunch of little shorts. So some of the shorts are more fun than the others. So I would watch some of the shorts again. Especially I like the Samba one. It's fun. Now, Saludos Amigos, or the Three Caballeros. I love the Three Caballeros. They're shit for the way they tease other cultures. We know this was before PC. That did help cure some ignorance of other cultures, even if the method was Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, like, it did a lot in the time period, but it still had a ways to go. And we're going to talk even more about that, because the fact is in some of these cases, Walt knew better, and he still didn't listen, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But, Three Caballeros. So, this is another fun one. It brings back, this connected Donald Duck's birthday. This was for Donald Duck's 10th anniversary, for his birthday. he receives a bunch of presents from South America. And it gives us a whole bunch of little shorts of different stuff. So the first one is really fun. It's literally just like a little documentary about like the birds of South America. And it's really cute. And then yeah, there's a couple different ones. So there's a little bit about there's a little bit about birds, and then there's a little short about a penguin in Antarctica who gets tired of the cold and like goes all the way up to the coast of Chile and goes to the Galapagos Islands. And then he gets there and he's like, this is nice, but he kind of misses the cold. So, you know. What is it, kitty? You guys see her? This is her. Come here. Come here. Come here. That's the kitty. She is so loud. I know, she's halfway across the room and you can hear her. Yeah, so there's a bunch of little segments, and then the next one is a little adventures about the story of a boy from Argentina with a winged donkey. Cute, fun, whatever. Then in the next segment, Jose from the last movie shows back up with Donald, and they dance the samba in Bahia, which is a country, or it's a state in Brazil. And again, it's more samba, it's more dancing, and it's mixed with live action. It's really fun. They're like dancing with live people doing the samba and stuff, and it's cute. But again, they're just little shorts with like music. And then the next one is La Posadas. It's about so this is where our other character shows up. Panchito. Panchito is also kind of a caricature of a Mexican man. He shows up with like a sombrero and like revolvers, and and he goes "Ay!" and stuff. Again, kind of silly, but they talk about the piñata and, you know, the festivities of how that is part of like Christmas in Mexico. And then Donald, Panchito, and Jose go on like a flying carpet tour of like Mexico City and different Mexican places and all sorts of stuff. You know, they're just a little like, you know, tour and shows you areas of Mexico City. Again, it's really cool, but like, I don't know. I feel like the good it does isn't quite balanced out by the messy moments of like, yeah, but your character that like gives Donald this tour is named Panchito, and like, let me show you Panchito. I don't remember his last name. Panchito Pistoles. Okay? Like, this is our Mexican representation. Hold on, how do I do the window capture? Oops. I made it disappear. Like, look at that. Like, that's your Mexican character? But you want to be like, look, we love Mexico. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, you know? So, yeah, they go on a tour of Mexico. And then the last one is this really, like, slow scene with just, like, Donald dancing around to some singing and all that. And it's kind of lame. And then the end, yeah. It just... It was a lame end. Like, he's just singing, like, there's a woman singing and it's just him, like, dancing around. He's in love with this girl and he's trying to dance with her and stuff. And, you know, again, it's a cool mixture of this live action and animation stuff. So it's cool for that, but, like, the story itself is kind of like, okay. So, again, very fun. You know, it's iconic, the Three Caballeros. The characters still exist, and there's a new Three Caballeros TV show, I think, on Disney Plus. I don't know if it's a TV show or a movie. But, you know, a lot of what's cool about this and, like, the last one is the mixture of the live action and the animation. But most of it, there's not a ton of story. It's just kind of like, oh, look, cool music and fun characters dancing around. It's Donald Duck. Look, haha, it's Donald Duck. Look, he's hanging out with this Mexican bird and this Brazilian bird. Panchito means poncho. Yeah. They're, you can look up the Three Caballeros and look up Jose and Panchito. They're interesting. So, this next one, if you were trying to watch these with me, you wouldn't have been able to watch Make Mine Music because for whatever reason, it's not on Disney Plus. And unlike some other stuff that is like, okay, well, it's not on there because of X, Y, and Z copyright issues, or we don't want people to watch it because it's racist or whatever, Make Mine Music has, like, really no reason it's not on there as far as I can tell. It's just not on Disney Plus. So, luckily, I own the DVD of it. I purchased the DVD ages ago, so I was able to watch it. But, yeah, just not on Disney Plus. Okay, I was gonna say, I don't remember this short. Apparently there's a short that is not in the US video release. Okay. Because of the depiction of gun use. So I was like, wait, I don't remember this short. It's not in the version. Okay. So that's already been censored out. The next one is literally basically just like it's basically just like a Fantasia segment. It's just like music playing. It's called Blue Bayou, and it's got like birds flying through the bayou. It's fairly boring. This one's fun. I mean, again, these are like silly symphonies or like Fantasia, where a lot of it is just like, here's a song and we animated it. So all the cats join in. It's just like a little short of like, it's really cool because they're like drawing the characters in as the characters are doing stuff, and it's really fun. But it's like, it's just about like teenagers going to go like party and play and listen to the jukebox, you know? Yeah, I don't even remember this one. Without You, it's another just like segment of a ballad. Like, it's a song and there's animation to it. Here's one of the popular ones. Casey at the Bat. If you've ever heard the poem Casey at the Bat, this is just an animated sequence of Casey at the Bat. They've just, someone's reading Casey at the Bat and they animated it. If you don't know what Casey at the Bat is, it's a poem about basically a stuck-up baseball player. He, an arrogant baseball player who got too cocky and struck out and lost the game for his team. Yeah. So, the next one, Two Silhouettes. It's rotoscoped ballet dancers dancing to this song. It's just music and animation. This one is seriously fairly lame. Peter and the Wolf. This one was cute. So it's a musical composition. This one's very Fantasia-like, but it's a musical composition. It's just a musical composition where the music tells a story. It's like a ballet almost. Each instrument is a different character. So when you hear like the oboe, it's one character. When you hear the like the flute, it's a different character. When you hear this, so it's just a artistic rendition of that, plus somebody narrating over top, which was really cool and really fun though, because like I said, it's so the string quartet is Peter, Sasha the duck is little bird, Sonia the oboe is the duck, the cat is the clarinet, Grandpa is the bassoon, the guns are the kettle drums, and the wolf is like the horns and the cymbals, and it's like really cool. I don't even remember this one. This gun has a cork in it. Yes, is a little pop gun. I don't remember this next one. Again, most of these are just like little songs with like animation to them. I don't remember this next one. Johnny Fedora and Alice Blue Bonnet. Yeah. Again, it's a story of two hats that fall in love in the hat store, and then they're separated, and then by chance they find each other again. And it's a song, and it's animation. The last one is so sad. Okay? So, it's about this whale who can, sing opera. And they go out to find this whale who can sing opera. Except this guy thinks the whale has swallowed opera singers. And the whale just wants to sing at the Met. He's an opera singer. He wants to sing at the Met. And they're trying to stop him from killing the whale because it's like, no, look, the whale can sing. The whale can sing, or whatever. And it ends with him shooting the whale with a harpoon and killing the whale. And that's it. And they're like, oh, but look, his voice will sing in heaven. It's like, bro, what the fuck? I thought this was a kid's show. So, Make My Music was probably my least favorite of the wartime era. It was super boring. It didn't have as many segments that I liked. Most of them felt like they were like bits that didn't make it into Fantasia. Like, a lot of it was just animation with music on top. I mean, it was just got its place, but it wasn't interesting to me. Okay. Fun and fancy free. This one was cute. Okay? So this has two stories. Mixed, connected, seemingly disconnected, but connected in an interesting way, and it mixes animation and live action. So it starts with Jiminy Cricket, and he's dancing around, and he ends up in this little house, and he finds a record player that has some records, and there's a story on one of these records called Bongo, and it tells the story of a little circus bear who goes into the woods and all this stuff. And they fall in love and all this stuff. And then after the story ends, Jiminy Cricket gets up because he's listened to this record, and then he gets up and he finds an invitation on the desk that says there's a party across the street at so-and-so's house. And he goes, okay, let's go check out the party. So he's in this one house and he goes across the street. And across the street, there are live action people. Or real people. Well, there's two real people and two ventriloquist puppets. And he gets over there and he's telling the story of Happy Valley. How there was a singing harp that kept everything happy. And then one day it was stolen and suddenly there was waste and all this stuff. And if you listen, it goes on and goes on, and it's the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, with Mickey and Donald and Goofy, told by this live-action man and his ventriloquist puppets. And so it cuts back and forth between, like, the story he's telling, which is Jack and the Beanstalk, and then back to them, of them, like, cracking jokes and stuff. Of, like, can you tell the story any faster? Or, yeah, I assume that's what would happen next, kind of thing. So, you know, it's Jack and the Beanstalk. He sells the cow for the magic beans. They go up the beanstalk. They find the giant. Chaos ensues. They save the harp. They go back down, and everyone lives happily ever after. And then, yeah, and it's a mixture, again, of live action and animation and all that, and it's really fun. This one I had seen before. I didn't realize I had, but I was halfway through watching, I was like, I feel like I've seen this bongo story before. And then it started the next sequence, and I was like, maybe I haven't. And then it started into the Jack and the Beanstalk. I was like, I've definitely seen this before. So, this one I had actually seen before. I'd also seen Three Caballeros before, but that was more recently. I knew I had seen that one before I sat down and watched it for these streams. This I didn't think I had seen before, but apparently I had. So, it's a cute little thing. So this is like, you can kind of tell, like, this is all called the Wartime, but you can tell which ones are kind of post-war. But yeah, they were basically trying to save money during World War II by making all these little shorts and, like, packaging them and all that. These little compilations. So, Fun and Fancy Free is fun. It's cute. I like both the little stories. They're interesting. They kept me way more entertained than some of the other ones. I just remember these are 40s films, so the writing for the most part is hidden awful, but can still be dark. Yeah. Yeah, they're 40s films, so it's kind of like, Melody Time. I liked this one alright. Some of them, again, a little rough. Again, they're like miniature musicals. That's what it called it on here, and it's like definitely that, yeah. The first one is just like a little winter segment. Again, it's got like a music song, and it's just these people riding around in the wintertime and all this stuff. The next one is literally a cut piece from Fantasia. It was actually considered, like, this piece, it is an animated sequence of Flight of the Bumblebee. Which was one of the pieces considered for Fantasia, and they didn't do it. So they animated and put it in this film. What are you gonna do, you know? It was cute, the visuals are cute, but again, it's just like a Fantasia piece. It's just music playing and you're looking at some stuff. If that's what you like, that's cool, but like, I wasn't into it. The next one is fun. It's The Legend of Johnny Appleseed. It's a cute little thing. You guys know the story of Johnny Appleseed. It's an actual person, John Chapman, who spent his life during the pioneer days planting apple trees and stuff. How he got his nickname. He was planting apple trees and spreading Christianity, basically. And it's just an old, like, it's an old American, tale, legend kind of thing. So it's a cute little telling. I love it. It was really cute. It was really pretty. I liked it. It was a good telling. It did catch me off guard to have a character in a Disney movie and singing about how he loves the Lord and the Lord is a savior and all this stuff. I was just like, right, you could do that in the 40s. Okay. Johnny Appleseed is a Christian? Yeah, that's kind of his thing. Yeah, go watch the segment. Yeah, he was a Christian. It's like a big thing about him. This other little one, it's just a little story. It's kind of lame. It's a little tugboat. I don't remember this movie at all, lol. Yeah, Melody Time. Melody Time is this little tugboat thing. It was whatever. I didn't even think it was that cute. Trees. I don't remember this one. I wasn't paying attention. Blame it on the samba. Okay, our buddy Jose is back again. I remember the John Henry one. So that's actually, The Legend of Johnny Appleseed is in 2 different films. So there's one, because I looked this up the other day, because me and my friend were really confused. He was like, no, that's the one that has John Henry and all that stuff. And I was like, no, I think there's a different one, because this one has Johnny Appleseed and some other stuff, but it doesn't have John Henry. So there's a film called American Legends, and it's got, I think that's what it's called, Disney American Legends. Okay. It has got John Henry, Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan, and the Brave Engineer. I don't know what that is. The Railroad Engineer, Casey Jones. Okay. So, you've probably seen that one, not Melody Time. But Johnny Appleseed, that was first came out in Melody Time, and then later they made this compilation that has a bunch of their different shorts from other movies that is all the American Legend stories. So, John Henry, Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan, and Brave Engineer. So then we got Blame It on the Samba. Jose shows back up, and then they're dancing samba again. Again, it's just them dancing some samba. It's fun, though. Last one is fun. Pecos Bill. So the Pecos Bill, it's actually it starts as a little live action sequence, and they're like, why did the coyotes howl? And they're like, well, let me tell you the story of Pecos Bill. And then they tell the story of Pecos Bill, and it's cute, and I was actually interested. I was falling asleep because it was like 11:30 or something, I think. But I was like, oh, that's cute, good night. As soon as it ended. But it was fun. Yeah, they, a lot of these have been, the biggest thing about these is a lot of them have been censored in different ways over the years. Some of them have been uncensored, and some of them haven't. A lot of them have been censored for the tobacco use, the gun use, things like that. And some of them haven't been, or they were censored, and then when they put on Disney Plus, they put those things back in, or whatever. But these movies have always been controversial. And, there's a lot about them. So, this is one where they tried to do, like, Fun and Fancy Free, where it's, like, 2 disconnected stories, but they connect them in a fun way, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all, and I don't like this one. Probably my second least favorite of the ones I watched. So, it starts with, like, a guy being like, oh, all these stories and all these characters, and here's one of the most famous characters, Mr. Toad, and it's like, there's a book that opens, and it's like, let me tell you the story of Mr. Toad, and it tells us the story of Mr. Toad. And he's an impulsive guy, and he gets himself into trouble, and the ending of the story is just kind of whatever, but it's about him he gets himself into trouble and then gets arrested, but he was telling the truth, but everyone thought he was lying, and then there's a whole segment, and they get his house back, and then he says, I'll never do anything bad again, and then he does bad stuff again. Whatever. It's kind of a lame story. Like, I don't know, I just didn't love this one. And then the next one is the story of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Ichabod Crane, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. It had a very unsatisfying ending. It's Legend of Sleepy Hollow. It had an unsatisfying ending, but it's about this guy who shows up to be the schoolmaster and all this stuff, and then he falls in love with the most popular girl, and Ichabod wins her over the, it's basically kind of like Beauty and the Beast, where there's, like, the big buff man who wants the really pretty girl, but, like, she falls in love with the weirdo. Yeah, this character was kind of like a Gaston character before Gaston existed. But Ichabod gets the lady, and then he wants to, Gaston man, Brom, wants the girl. Well, what he does is he knows Ichabod is superstitious. So he tells the story of the Headless Horseman who rides in Sleepy Hollow. And everyone just kind of laughs and laughs and laughs, but he gets scared. And then on his ride home, he encounters the Headless Horseman. And yeah, and he crosses the covered bridge that stops the ghost pursuit. It was probably Brom messing with him, but, like, obviously, like, they don't tell you what actually happened. It's just kind of one of those things of, like, ooh, what was it? What was it that he encountered that night? And the people, the next day, Ichabod is nowhere to be found, and everyone is like, oh, Ichabod is still alive, he's just in a different country. But, like, the superstitious people are like, no, he was spirited away by the Headless Horseman. And they don't actually tell you what the ending is. And it was really unsatisfying, because I wanted him to get with the girl, because he totally won the girl over. But no, the girl gets with Brom. And I was like, what? Because Ichabod was gone. And I'm like, Brom was messing with him, and Brom won? That's no fun. Like, okay. So, I don't know, I just didn't like it. It was whatever. So, we're gonna rank these mofos. Okay, let me write them all on here. Okay. Ooh, not in all caps. Need that. Bold. I know if I could fucking type. Fun and fancy free. Melody time. Is it bad? The main reason I know the 3 Caballeros is from the new DuckTales. No, that's how I was introduced to them, and I was like, oh my god, I love these characters. I need more of them. Well, yeah, Ichabod, and this man is like, tell me your Disney movie without saying your Disney movie, animation-wise. Fair enough. Okay. So, Saludos, amigos. I mean, it's pretty good. I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10. Oops, might help if I didn't hit capital. I'll put it in like C tier. Might help if I could spell. Okay. 3 Caballeros. I like the 3 Caballeros. I'm gonna give it like... I'm gonna give it a... It's probably gonna be my highest ranked one so far. It's gonna be like a 7 out of 10. It's got its issues, but it's fun. Make Mine Music, it's getting like a 3 out of 10. It was really boring. It's gonna go in F tier. Fun and Fancy Free? I liked that. Oops. Not what I meant to do. I didn't even know I had anything copied. 7 out of 10 also, I think. Really fun. B tier. I'm gonna reorder these in just a second. Melody time. Ah, I hit Control V instead of Control B. What was in melody time again? I get this. It's gonna get like a 5 out of 10. Oops. 5 out of 10. Which would go in D tier. Honestly, this gets like a 4 out of 10. I'm gonna put it in D tier. Okay, let us reorder these. Let's see. Okay, melody time. Oops. And then there we go. Okay, let us actually match this up. So who's amigos? I'll put these all down here so I can just sort them in a minute. I'm just trying to find them. Is that all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah. Okay, where did I say? Fun and Fancy Free was B tier. And then 3 Caballeros. Fantasia, and then Slow Dos Amigos. And then Melody Time Dumbo. Snow White, Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Pinocchio, Make My Music, Bambi. Okay. So, this is our current, like, rankings. So far nothing is in, like, S or A, unsurprisingly. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Like, most of these were, like, okay films. Like, they weren't bad. Most of them were just boring. Like they just had parts that were good. I mean, it's a lot of like little short bits, you know? So there's not a whole lot of long story, there's not a whole lot to talk about, there's not a whole lot to like. So what we're gonna go into, hold on. What we're gonna talk about next, you're gonna be like, Tara, we're done with the wartime era. You talked about everything. There's a film that if Disney, you know, the mystery of his disappearance adds to the movie in a way for me. I like a good superstition mystery. Yeah, I know, but like, I don't. I wanted him to get the girl and have the good ending. Like, I like different kinds of stories. I wanted him to win. So this right here, this is the wartime. So there's a film that if it would be considered part of the wartime era if people talked about it, but Disney doesn't want you to see this film. What film am I talking about? Song of the South! You're gonna say, Tara, how the fuck did you find the Song of the South? I found this online. I wish he did win, but it's the brave stuff they took to do that for a film. Yeah, I'll agree. Song of the South, guys. I had to watch this movie. I've heard so many things about it. I needed to see it for myself and understand it for myself. Okay? Well, Song of the South. If you don't know anything about Song of the South, you will know one thing from Song of the South. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. That is from Song of the South. You will also know Splash Fucking Mountain, based on Song of the South. Well, parts of Song of the South. So I had to see this movie for myself, okay? There's a lot wrong with it. There's a lot wrong with this movie. Essentially, here's the biggest problem with this movie. So you're gonna watch this movie, and you're gonna think this thing takes place during during slave times. It takes place after the Civil War, but Walt Disney didn't make that clear. Okay? So, they go to a plantation. Like, the film opens, and this is a mixture of live action and animation, but it's mostly live action. This film was created because Walt Disney wanted his Gone with the Wind. He didn't get his Gone with the Wind. Not with this film, at least. So, it starts with, like, this family going to Grandma's plantation. And, like, they've got, I guess, you know, their caregiver for the child with them. I mean, it's a black woman who is implied to sort of be, like, their servant, or their, you know, like, the carer of the child, or whatever. And then they get there, and, like, all these people start unloading the carriage, and they're all black people, and you're like, are these slaves? No, this takes place after the Civil War. But Walt specifically took out lines from this movie that would make it clear that it took place after the Civil War. So that's, like, problem number one. It is not clear that this is a post-Civil War era. Which there's still issues, okay? There's still issues. But this is a post-Civil War era, but it is not made clear. You think all these people are slaves. And part of this problem is that in, like, the next scene, you see a bunch of these people, like, these workers, I guess is the best word I can use to describe them, gathered around, and they're singing, and it looks like the happy slave stereotype of, like, oh, look, the slaves are happy, they're singing. Because, again, it's not made clear that they're not slaves. So it's a big thing there. And, like, seriously, like, I was reading a defense of this movie written by a white guy. He was like, this movie is a musical. That's why they're singing. It's like, bitch, the only time anyone sings in this movie is, I kid you not, there's a group of the workers, and they are singing a song. That seems like happy slave stereotype to me. Which I know, like, there's a whole other conversation we had of, like, yes, that was part of slave culture is a way, like, that was part of their connection was, like, we sing with each other and we spend time and we tell stories. But the way it is presented in this movie is very wrong. Like, it's very inappropriate. So, like, this little boy has heard of this man who told his dad stories, and his name is Uncle Remus. And he goes out and he finds Uncle Remus, who is this older black. Honestly, I understand why they don't show up, but at the same time, Haydn is almost like saying it never happened. I think he used to teach, to educate film culture, but that's probably it. Yeah, there's a whole lot to be talked about with this film. So, he finds Uncle Remus, and Uncle Remus is telling stories about Briar Rabbit. And part of his connection with Uncle Remus is that his dad has left. Him and his mom are here, and his dad has left to go back to the city, and he is upset that his dad has left. So Uncle Remus is doing this stuff to help get him to connect and calm down and not leave and not feel upset or whatever. So Briar Rabbit is this little story character he has, and you might have seen the Briar Rabbit short. So the ride Splash Mountain is based on these animated shorts that are about Briar Rabbit, which are the stories that Uncle Remus tells, but they're presented in animation sequences. And so he tells him the story about Briar Rabbit, and he goes home. Okay? And all of these stories connect to what's going on in the movie, basically. So he makes friends with this little young black boy that's on the plantation and this other little poor white girl that was on the plantation. This is another sequence that people have an issue with. that I don't think is as bad as people make it out to be. At least not in the Disney version. It's the story about the tar baby. Now, people have a lot of issue because it's a tar baby. It's a black baby. I mean, people have a lot of issue with the way this is presented and such. I think in the Disney film, the baby is not given... See, I thought that the baby was going to be given, like, exaggerated characteristics, and that would have been a problem, but, like, it's a lump of tar shaped vaguely humanoid with, like, button eyes. So I thought it was okay. But, I mean, if anyone has seen this movie and wants to be like, hey, actually, you're wrong, go ahead. I mean, do your own research. Like, go watch this film. I will put the link to this movie in the Discord, in the chat, because I think everyone should go watch this movie and just experience it for themselves. But I've seen this sequence before. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how. But I've either seen this sequence or a different cartoon used the exact same story. Because essentially what happens is he walks past the tar baby, and the tar baby, he says hi, and the tar baby doesn't answer because it's not a real person. And he comes back, and he's like, I said hi, and it still doesn't answer. And he goes, I give you one more chance. I said hi, and then he punches the tar baby, and then his hand gets stuck. And then he yells and yells and yells, and he tries to get himself free, and then he puts his other hand, and then he gets stuck. And then Briar Fox catches him. And then he's like, oh, please, Briar Fox, do whatever you want. You can burn me, you can skin me. Just don't throw me into that briar patch. The trick being that the briar patch is where Briar Rabbit lives. And so he convinces, he's like, Fox, do whatever you want. He's like, I'm going to eat you, I'm going to boil you. He's like, do whatever you want. Just do not, absolutely do not throw me into the briar patch. So what does he do? He chucks him in the briar patch. And then the rabbit is like, ha ha ha. Basically. So I've seen this sequence. I don't know when or where, but I've seen this sequence. And again, I don't think it's as bad. Like, there are bigger things to, like, talk about in this movie than the tar baby, in my opinion. But basically, Johnny then gets in trouble because he told Uncle Remus something, and his mom had said something different, and all this stuff. Also gets in trouble. And, I mean, it's just a whole thing. Like, it's just this movie about this little boy and Uncle Remus tells him stories, and it's kind of a boring film. And it's only... The fun parts are the Briar Rabbit stories. And the tar baby is a racial slur. They can't show that on TV, just the title alone. Oh, is it? I'd never heard that before. I'd never heard that as as a racial thing. I don't know where I would have seen it if it wasn't on TV. I'd have to look into that. I guess I can see how that could be used as an offensive story. I'd never heard of that as a, Yeah, I guess I see it here. I'm looking at it right now. Huh. Well, I apologize for saying it like 4 times on this stream, everybody. I thought people were upset about the actual thing, but I guess I'd never heard that one. I'll keep that in mind. Well, that makes more sense then, because I was like, let me show you what it looks like in Song of the South. No, images. Like, it looks like this. So I thought people were upset about the actual image, but I guess people were upset about the wording rather than the image itself. Let me see if I can get a bigger picture. Hold on. See? So I thought people were upset about the imaging, but I guess people were upset about the wording. That makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. But yeah, there's a whole thing, and it's just a whole big mess. And then, like, Uncle Remus decides to leave because Johnny's mom asked him to stop telling stories and all this, and so he leaves, and then whatever. It's a pretty boring story, honestly. The most interesting parts are the Briar Rabbit stories. And then, here's the biggest thing. Is if you read about this film. So, the biggest thing is Disney liked the Uncle Remus storybook. It's a storybook. And he remembered hearing the story as a child, so he wanted to make this into a film. At first he wanted to be animated, but then there was all this other stuff, and then they decided to do what they've did, which was like a half animation, half live action. So they went and they wrote the screenplay. I know the context what you were saying, so I knew I was just calling it for what it was to describe what the movie was about. Yeah, no, but thank you for educating me. I had never, I hadn't heard that in a, I guess the best word I would say is, in a racial context. I just heard it in context of this movie. So I never thought about it that way. But I guess that makes more sense as to why people were upset about it. So, here's the thing. He hired consultants on this script. He hired script consultants. And every single one of them was like, hey, Walt, this movie, it's kind of fucked up. It's kind of a bunch of Southern stereotypes. It's kind of racist. And so Disney fired the first guy. Because he said he wanted to portray the African American characters in a way that would be more dignified than Southern stereotypes. And then this will post a disclaimer before adding this on YouTube before cancel culture comes from you. Maybe this one doesn't go on YouTube. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Don't worry. But the executive secretary of the NAACP wasn't allowed to see the film, the pre-stuff for the film. So Walt hired somebody else. And yeah, there's some there was some language that this guy added, and he added lines that made it clear that the film was set after slavery had ended. So he tried to put all these other things in here, and then Disney fired him as well. So basically, every time someone was hired to, be a consultant on this film and add stuff, he was fired. And, Walt just wasn't listening. So, these lines, there were a bunch of lines that were put in here. There was a lot of wording that was taken out, the original, one of the original scripts included the phrases massa in reference to white characters and darky in reference to plantation workers. So these were removed, and then he added dialogue to make it clear that they were free, that this took place after the Civil War. We got to pay these people, they're not slaves. Uncle Remus states, I'm a free man, I don't have to take this. But those lines never made it to the final cut. So you're like, what the fuck, Disney? And then he got taken off the project, and a lot of these ideas were just really bad that Disney put on there. And it was just a whole thing. So, it just didn't do well. And, it didn't make any money. It only made $3 million, which is not a lot of profit. People didn't like it. I mean, black press hated it. Seriously, everyone hated it. And it made no money, and yeah, now it's just the film no one talks about. It's the film that Disney's ashamed of. It's a lot of bad things wrapped in one. And there was some stuff, like I said, that there's another thing, and a lot of people were upset about the way the characters talk, specifically the black characters. But I think personally, the way I interpreted it, because all the characters speak in a weird slang, is that they were matching the slang of the times. Because even the white characters speak in a different, like not in a natural way. So I don't think, like, I personally don't think that's as big of an issue as, like, hey, yeah, some of these other things in this movie are real bad. Like the baby, like the fact that Walt literally cut out lines that made this clear that it was after slavery. I mean, just the treatment of the characters, the happy slave stereotype of, like, seriously. I mean, like, all the songs, like, the songs, besides Zippity Doodah, all the music that is in this movie is, like, sung by the black characters. And they're just, like, be hanging out and they'll just be singing. Like, it's not a musical in the way that, like, these songs, like, match what's going on. Like, they'll just be sitting there and they're just singing something. And it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. You may not think you're doing it, but I see what you're doing. I think everyone should go watch it, to be honest. I don't think we should let Disney hide it. I think everyone should go watch it and see for themselves. See if I can find my link to it. Here we go. I think everyone should go watch it. Here is the film. If you are interested in watching it, go make your own opinion on it. Go make your own videos on it. Go talk about it. I've already put it in the Discord, so go look for it. Seriously, watch this movie. Don't let Disney hide it. Like, watch this movie, talk about this movie, talk about the issues, talk about the good parts, talk about, like, that this is part of Disney's past. One of the things to know is, like they're changing Splash Mountain now, so it will no longer be Briar Rabbit. It will no longer be Song of the South. So that's kind of the last legacy of Song of the South being erased. And I think if Disney keeps trying, they will succeed in completely erasing this movie. I'm sure there are people out here who don't even know about Song of the South. So don't let Disney get away with hiding this film. It's the worst part about this movie is that I can't even be like, oh, but you know, like, it sucks that it was, like, racist because it's actually, like, a really fun film. It's boring. It's a boring story. Like, this isn't even a good movie. I'm not going to put it on my ranking list because it's actually not on this tier list that I have. So I'm not going to put it on my ranking. But, like, it's boring. It would probably be down here. Like, it would be down here with, like, Bambi and stuff. Oops. It would be down here with, like, Bambi. Like, it's just a kind of boring movie. I don't know what to say. So, yeah, I didn't even think it was that good, to be fair. I was really trying to give it an open mind. I really was, because I didn't want to be like, this is the bad movie. This is the one everyone hates. Like, I wanted to be like, okay, let me see what this is actually about. So, that's that. We have discussed the entire wartime era, including the parts that Disney doesn't want us to talk about. You're probably right, though, that I'll need a disclaimer on this video. I'll see if I actually feel like doing that. Honestly, I might just post this up there and let people go crazy with it. I don't think I'm popular enough for cancel culture to come for me. And if the worst they can do is be like, you said something wrong that you shouldn't have, and I say, well, I clearly didn't know, and I stopped as soon as I learned. You know, I just... whatever. I don't have enough of a following for anyone to care anyway. If I lose half my followers, whatever, I'll start over. It's pretty bad. Like, it would be down here. It's a bad movie. It's, yeah. But that is the wartime era. Oops, lost it. So that's the whole wartime era. There are a couple other things that we didn't talk about that are technically part of this era. There are short films. All of these eras have like short films, like animated. So like what we will last watch, we just finished the golden age of Disney. There's some short films. There's the Silly Symphonies, which I actually own. Silly Symphonies on DVD. But this isn't something we're really going to talk about because it's just, we're talking about the movies. We're talking about Disney animated films. Disney's animation studio animated films. So, I do want to point out something part of the wartime era is these short films were all, these were all propaganda films made by Disney for the war, starring Donald Duck. So these exist. I also own them on DVD. I have also not watched them yet. But these are short films of Donald Duck. Oh yeah, here we go. There it is. That's what I was looking for. That is Donald doing what you think he's doing. I will answer your question in just a minute, Igloo. I just need you to see this. This is from a real Disney cartoon. So, these existed. These happened. So yeah, there's an explanation, I'm sure, but like this is part of Disney's history too. So the next age we're starting of the next era is the Silver Age of Disney. It is Cinderella to Jungle Book. So Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, and Jungle Book. So I'm excited because I haven't seen a lot of these in a long time. I've seen all of these, but it's been a while. Let me actually pull back up Disney Plus so I can look at this. But yeah, so those are the eras. So let me see if I can find a better thing of the eras of Disney. But so we're going to go, so we watched all of this. We're going to start in the 50s. We're going to go from Alice in Wonderland to Jungle Book. And then we get into, I think this is Dark Ages next. Yeah, next is Dark Ages. There's some really good ones. Yeah, the Silver Age is great. And then we'll get into the Dark Ages. And the worst part is the Dark Ages have some really fun stuff. But it's considered the Dark Ages. So, yeah. Eras of Disney. People also divide these up in different ways. I just want this image. So yeah, this one. So yeah, people mostly agree on like up to like the Renaissance, and then people start to disagree over here. A lot of this stuff kind of gets turned into experimental instead of post-Renaissance. The revival, yeah, I would put Bolt in the post-Renaissance, not in the revival. Bolt sucked, but we're kind of going to start, we're going to go up to the Renaissance for sure with these names, and then I'm going to find one that's a little better. Dark Ages is some of my favorite Disney movies, like Fox and the Hound, even though it makes me cry every time. I know. Some things call it the Bronze. This calls it the Bronze, but a lot of these call it the Dark Ages. Let me see. want the image. I can't find the image I want. Let me see. Ugh. Stop opening weird things. Let's see, I think this one's more. This one's exactly the same as the last one. Yeah, there's a lot of disagreement on what eras, what they're called. No one really agrees, but people kind of agree up to the Renaissance, and then after that people start to say different things. See. Why do they name it Renaissance, Post-Renaissance, Revival? I don't really know. A lot of people I've heard called the Post-Renaissance. So this is called the Bronze Age on here. Most people call this the Dark Ages. The Renaissance is just kind of like what everyone considers when Disney got good again. So post-Renaissance is just kind of after that. A lot of people call this the Second Dark Ages or the experimental era. Not a lot of people liked these movies. They didn't do well, a lot of them. I mean, Treasure Planet, Emperor's New Groove, Chicken Little, Atlantis, like, they didn't do well. No, The Little Mermaid is what saved Disney. Little Mermaid kind of saved Disney. That's why it's the beginning of the Renaissance. It kind of saved them. This is the stuff that people found weird. It didn't do well. It didn't make a lot of money. So this is like the experimental era where they made a lot of weird shit. And I will agree, they made a lot of weird shit. And then again, the revival, this is like, oh, they saved. We're saved again. So again, it's kind of it depends on who you ask, sort of thing. Wartime. So yeah, Bronze Era. Then you have Renaissance. So yeah. My cousin used to be obsessed with The Little Mermaid. She watched the VHS so much it squeaked. Wow. That's intense. So yeah, experimental. And then the revival. So like Princess and the Frog. Some people, the eras don't include Pixar. No. This is, you have to remember, these are different studios. So this is Disney Animation Studios. That's the films we're watching right now. The Pixar Studios we'll get back to later. This is about the Disney Animated Studios films. Yeah, Disney Renaissance, you know. This is just kind of what saved Disney. So there's a whole lot to it. I mean, again, people have their own questions and their own ideas, but we're kind of going with this. This is sort of the Dark Ages, and then the Renaissance is up next, and then this is sort of the experimental, and then some people put Princess and the Frog didn't do that well. Some people leave it with like this experimental, but some people say it changed Disney, so it belongs with the revival. That's kind of your own thing. I feel like the revival needs to be split in two, and I think we're going into a second like low point in my opinion. Because all of this stuff was good, and then Moana came out, and then like Ralph Breaks the Internet, and then Frozen 2, and then Raya. I just don't feel like those films are that great. I don't feel like we're in a good point. And yeah. But that's my opinion. So, yeah, so for next stream, we're just going to talk about Cinderella. So all the princess movies are going to get their own streams. because they're just kind of more important. Let's be real. The princess movies are just kind of more important. So we're going to watch Cinderella, and we're going to talk about Cinderella and Cinderella alone. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. So watch Cinderella, please. I really encourage, and I understand work and all that stuff, but I really do encourage you guys, please watch these movies with me. And let's talk about them together. I want to hear y'all's ideas. I want to hear y'all's input. I don't just want to hear myself talk the whole time. I want to hear what you guys thought about the film. What parts you liked, what parts you didn't like. So, I really encourage you guys and highly, highly suggest you guys go watch these two. And we just kind of watch them together and talk about them together. So, we're going to do Cinderella next. And then we'll do these three. And then we'll do Sleeping Beauty. And then in chunks. I feel like Moana would have been a lot worse if they didn't have The Rock voicing Maui. I enjoyed the movie personally, but I get it it's different for everyone. I think The Rock and Lin-Manuel Miranda is like the parts that kind of like sold the movie for everybody. I think without those things it wouldn't have done as well. But I think because Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music, everyone went, "Ooh, the Hamilton guy!" And because it was The Rock voicing Maui, everyone went, "Ooh, The Rock!" You know? So, I think that's why a lot of adults like it. You know what I mean? Kids are kids, whatever. I think that's why a lot of adults like it. It's not because they think it's actually a good movie, but because it's like, oh, the music. What can I say except you're welcome and How Far Ago, the only songs I like. I like I Am Moana. I do like I Am Moana. I like the most of the music. I hate the song Shiny. Kill me. I fucking hate that song. But besides that, I like most of the music. Music is pretty good in a lot of these. Oh my god, if you haven't gone to see Encanto yet, I highly suggest you go see Encanto. The music is amazing. Anyway, fuck that crab, I agree. But you might get crabs if you fuck that crab, so be careful. Have you ever heard the Sunrise Skate Kids cover of How Far Ago? It's killer. I have not. Send it to the Discord and I'll check it out. Anyway, Cinderella's up next. I'm really excited to talk about this movie. We might have our first A-rank movie. Shiny is definitely an annoying song. I'm really excited about Cinderella. So, yeah, if you guys have time, definitely go watch it. If you haven't seen it recently, go rewatch it. And let's talk about it, because I'm excited. I like Cinderella a lot, and I have a lot to say about this movie. So, we will talk about Cinderella next week. Also, I have an announcement to make. As of this week, I am no longer streaming Final Fantasy X on stream. I had fun playing the game, but I don't feel as many people, I don't feel like it's as many views. It's frustrating to play it on stream personally. I don't feel like I get enough interaction. I don't feel like people care enough. And I'm frustrated with the game personally. Like, it's frustrating me to play it. So I'm going to take a break from it. I'm not going to stream it on stream anymore. I'm going to finish it in my own time. And I'm going to take a couple weeks off from having Sunday streams. And then probably in the new year, once everything kind of settles in, I've got some stuff coming up in the new year, in January. But I will start a new game. I'm probably going to do Kingdom Hearts. So, yeah. No more Final Fantasy X unless I get a huge backlash and, like, everybody wants me to stream it again. No more Final Fantasy X. Totally fair, I get that completely. You have to do what's best for you. Yeah, I mean, I felt like I don't get the interaction. I get a lot more interaction from Ace Attorney and from the Disney streams than I really do from Final Fantasy X. Yes, we are going to play Kingdom fucking Hearts. That will probably start, like I said, sometime late January, early February. I need some time to recenter, and then I've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up in the first, 2 weeks of January, so, then we'll start Kingdom Hearts, and that's gonna be a lot of fun, because I've played most of the games. I've played some of the games. Let me put it this way. I have played, a third of the games all the way through. I played parts of 1. I didn't play Chain of Memories. I played 2. I played 358, Dream Drop Distance. I played parts of Birth by Sleep, and then I played 3. So, we're actually going to play all of them on stream that I can. There are a couple that I cannot stream. But Final Fantasy X, I prefer Cloud, Tifa, and Barret anyway. That's Final Fantasy VII, and I'm actually personally playing that one in my own time. That's kind of been my downtime game, is Final Fantasy VII. Tifa and Cloud, spoiler alert, do show up in Kingdom Hearts. A lot of Final Fantasy characters show up in Kingdom Hearts, especially Kingdom Hearts 2. So, they're very different from their Final Fantasy versions, but they do show up in Kingdom Hearts. So, yeah. Birth by Sleep had the most aggravating part of any Kingdom Hearts game, in my opinion. I tried to play Terra's story first, and I got to the end, and I couldn't beat the final boss, and so I haven't touched it since. This won't make sense to anyone who hasn't played the game, but you know the part where you're playing as the armor against Terranort? I couldn't beat that. So I gave up. Is a Small World is annoying as fuck. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm kind of done, right now. This was kind of a short stream. I'm not really going to try and fill the air, because I'm tired and I've got dinner plans. So, I definitely just wanted to make that announcement today. Angelic Choir. Sephiroth and stars in the Sephiroth. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah, that's called, the song is called One Winged Angel. And if you've played Kingdom Hearts, you know he's a bitch to fight. So, we're gonna do that. We won't, 100% the games. We're definitely gonna beat the games and maybe do a little bit of extra. It's like Latin they're singing, actually. I know it's Latin. My boyfriend knows the words, but I don't. So, yeah. Next week's fucking Christmas. We're not doing Cinderella next week, because next Saturday is Christmas. The Saturday after that, we are doing Cinderella. So, New Year's Eve, we will do a stream. Next week's Christmas, y'all. I just realized the wrestling named his finisher One Winged Angel. I get the reference now. So yeah. Next week, during the week, we'll do Ace Attorney and Animal Crossing. I don't know my exact days yet. I have to check with Zeffy. And then, yeah. So next week, I'll post my schedule, and then we'll just do Ace Attorney and Animal Crossing, and then the week after that, we'll do Ace Attorney and Animal Crossing, and then we'll pick up with the Disney stream. And yeah, and just always keep an eye out on the Twitter, on the Discord, and I will post announcements about when I'm starting Kingdom Hearts and all that. So, yeah, there is actually no one to raid today, so we are just going to get off of here. And I will see you guys on... It's amazing how popular Ace Attorney is. I've seen at least 3 people streaming it. It's really popular. I was hoping Final Fantasy X would be as popular to stream, but it wasn't, so, you know. And while I'm making announcements, after we beat Ace Attorney, we're going to start Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. So we're going to beat this case. We have to play... I don't want to play Rise from the Ashes, but we had to play Rise from the Ashes, which was the 5th case in Ace Attorney 1. The reason we're playing it now, instead of when we beat Ace Attorney 1, is because it was added after the trilogy had come out. It was added as a special... It was DLC content added when they re-released the trilogy. So we're going to play that. I don't want to, but Zeffy insisted we have to play it, so... We're going to play that after we beat this case, and then we will start Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. That will hopefully be around the new year, so. I feel like RPGs don't really get better the more you have. They get worse when you make 10 freaking games. Oh, honey. More than 10. Because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 6. And I think all of those are on their own. And then 7 has 2 spin-off games and a movie. And then... most of these have, spin-off games and movies of each of them. There's 10 numbered ones. Like, 10 also has a sequel. 10 has 10 too, which is a sequel. I think 13 has some spin-offs. Let's look at the list of Final Fantasy games. Yeah, all of these, so there's tons of spin-offs. Each game has its own, like, spin-offs. This is where they fucked up. Too many spin-offs in a fucking movie. Just keep the story going. That's where you're misunderstanding. It is not a long-going story. Each numbered game is its own story. They're not connected in any way. So you can pick up and play any of them. I played 10 because 10 is a fairly popular one, but it's not the most popular one. I thought it would be a good one. The characters in 10 aren't in any of the other games. Not that I'm aware. It's like the 7 characters, 7 happens in its own bubble. And then 8 is not a sequel to 7. It's its own little thing. It's not an ongoing story between 10 games. It's one story, and then another story, and then another story. They're connected in the fact that they have similar gameplay. They have some characters that all have the same name. Like, every game has a Cid. Things like that. Like, every game has the same... There's a lot of the same enemies in all the games. But they're not connected in story. Final Fantasy VI was my favorite Final Fantasy. I can list my opinions on which ones I think are good, honestly. Be careful. Zeffy is playing 6 right now, and he is... He's not enjoying it as much. He likes it. He's enjoying it. What he doesn't enjoy about 6 is that everyone talks about 6 when he's talking about 7. He'll be like, oh yeah, 7 was so good. And they'll be like, 6 was better. He'll be like, oh yeah, Sephiroth was really cool. Oh, but this guy from Final Fantasy 6 was cooler. And he's like, I'm talking about 7 right now. He's enjoying 6. He had some trouble doing the Blitz in 6. He couldn't figure out how to do that at first. Personally, I'm enjoying 7 a lot. I've only played 7 and 10, though. I'm liking 7 a lot more than 10. But this Disney stream turned into a Final Fantasy stream, and that's not what I meant to do. I just wanted to make an announcement. Sephiroth is cooler than Kefka, but Kefka is a more interesting villain. I'll have to see what Kevin thinks of that. I'll have to see what Zeffy thinks. But he says a lot of people talk about how Kefka's cooler than Sephiroth, when he's just like, I'm just talking about Sephiroth, bro. Go away. Anyway, not to turn this into a Final Fantasy stream. We will pick up probably Tuesday or Wednesday with Ace Attorney. Just keep an eye out for the schedule. I'll post it as soon as I can. And, yeah. That's all I had to say to you guys. I hope you enjoyed hearing about all these Wartime era movies. Did you like all my cosplay photos from Techo? I did. I went through all of them. I know I didn't, like, seem super interested, but I went through every single one, and I was like, oh, I know that character. Oh, that's a good costume. I just didn't have the time or the energy to, like, comment on each photo and be like, this one was really cool, or I love this character. But I did go through all of them, and I was like, ah. Some of them I was really interested to see how some people matched their mask to their costume. That was fun. Anyway, let's see. Let me double check something. So yeah, next week we'll pick up, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, like, hearing about all the Wartime era. I really suggest go give them a watch. Most of them are fun. You know, it's fun enough. And yeah, just go watch the movies. Really highly suggest you get Disney Plus if you don't have it, and you just have some fun. Chixima is streaming, I think. I didn't see her live. Let me see. Is Chick streaming? Ah, she just went live. Okay. Yeah, we'll rate Chick. So, we're gonna rate Chick. Let's do that. She's playing Blade Blue. Oh, they're doing a tournament. I forgot. That's awesome. Okay. Well, do the raid message. And send that when you get in the chat. And I will see you guys later. I love you all. Bye.